How much do you cost?
$200 a day plus expenses.
That's absurd. I'll give you 50 and no expenses.
Mr. Dexter, I don't know what you think is going on here, but I sell a service. Now, if you want the service, you pay what I think it's worth. If you think it's too high, you can go down on Main Street and deal with one of those guys.
You're a little touchy there, huh?
Right. I'm a little touchy.
Okay. I'll pay it.
James Garner usually brings to mind that easy grin, that relaxed drawl, and the kind of television cool that made Maverick and the Rockford Files feel effortless. He played men who could talk their way out of trouble, dodge danger with a joke, and still look like they had just rolled out of bed 5 minutes ago. But long before Hollywood figured out what to do with him, Garner was not standing on a soundstage. He was in Korea, cold, exhausted, and carrying a rifle in a war that nearly killed him more than once. Before we start, drop us a comment below and tell us which James Garner role you remember most. Bret Maverick, Jim Rockford, or one of his movie roles. Because behind that charming screen presence was a combat veteran whose military service in Korea came terrifyingly close to ending his life before his acting career ever began. Oklahoma Kid.
Your original name was, is this right? Was your name, it used to be Bumgarner?
Yes.
Bumgarner.
Bumgarner, Bumgarner.
And you decided Bumgarner's not the way to go.
I didn't really do that. The studio did. I was under contract with Warner's at the time.
The movie studio said we got to we got to change the name Bumgarner.
I didn't know it till I saw it on the screen.
Really?
Yeah, they just did it.
James Garner was born James Scott Bumgarner in Norman, Oklahoma in 1928. His early life was not exactly built for glamour. His mother died when he was still a little boy. His family life became difficult, and he grew up faster than most kids should have to. That rough beginning shaped the no-nonsense personality people later recognized in his acting. By the time he was a teenager, Garner had already developed a restless streak. School did not hold him for long. Work did not always hold him either. He bounced through odd jobs and eventually joined the Merchant Marine near the end of World War II, even though he was only 16. It sounded exciting until the ocean reminded him that adventure can come with seasickness. After that, he tried returning to school and even attended high school in California for a while. But Garner was not built for a neat, tidy path. He quit, worked as a model, returned to Oklahoma, and stayed athletic enough to play several sports. But nothing seemed permanent. Then Korea changed everything. In 1950, Garner was drafted into the Army, and what had been a restless young life suddenly became deadly serious. Sent to war.
They started the war, and he's out to end it. He's busting his son out, and the whole town's pulling for him. James Garner, C. Thomas Howell star, Tank.
Garner served with the 5th Regimental Combat Team, part of the 24th Infantry Division. This was not a ceremonial assignment. He was sent into the middle of a brutal conflict where replacements were badly needed and survival could depend on luck, weather, instinct, and the man next to you. He later described the situation in blunt terms. The unit was rushed into Korea when the fighting intensified, and the replacements were there to fill dangerous gaps. There was no movie star glow around any of it. Garner was still James Bumgarner, a young soldier from Oklahoma, thrown into a war zone before anyone knew him as a future television icon. Korea was punishing in ways easy to underestimate. The cold could be vicious. The terrain was unforgiving. Soldiers dealt with exhaustion, fear, confusion, and the constant threat of ambush or shell fire. Garner didn't romanticize it later, which says a lot about him. When he looked back, he did not sell Korea as some grand adventure. He called himself lucky. That word carried weight because he had every reason to know how close luck had come to running out. First wound.
I had my old commanding officer telling how, I saved his life.
Oh, really?
I was shot before he was.
Nothing to
We
it
met
at
in the
all.
hospital.
Garner's first wound came early in his time in Korea. He was hit by shrapnel from a mortar round with injuries to his hand and face. It was the kind of moment that could happen in seconds and change the course of a life. A mortar attack doesn't give a soldier much room for hero poses. One moment there's noise, movement, and pressure. Then metal is flying, bodies are reacting, and the aftermath arrives before anyone has had time to understand what just happened. Garner survived, but he didn't walk away untouched. That injury earned him a Purple Heart. For a young man who would later become famous for a calm, dry humor, the award came from something very real. It came from being wounded in combat, not from playing a soldier on screen. The strange part is this was only the first time Garner would be wounded. His second close call would be even more unusual, and in a darkly comic way, it sounds like the kind of story Jim Rockford might have told with a grimace and a shrug. Friendly fire.
We shall never end wars, Mrs. Barham, by blaming it on ministers and generals or warmongering imperialists or all the other banal bogies. It's the rest of us who build statues to those generals and name boulevards after those ministers. The rest of us who make heroes of our dead and shrines of our battlefields.
On April 21st, 1951, Garner was injured again, this time by friendly fire. U.S. aircraft mistakenly attacked his area while he was diving into a foxhole. He was hit in the backside, suffered burns on his neck, and his rifle was reportedly shattered. Garner later joked about the wound with the kind of humor only he could get away with. He said he went into the foxhole head first and was a little late. He also joked that there was a lot of room for error with a round in the rear. It was funny because Garner made it funny, but the actual incident was horrifying. Friendly fire is one of the cruelest forms of battlefield danger. Soldiers expect the enemy to fire at them. They don't expect danger to come from their own side. In Garner's case, the mistake could easily have killed him before the world ever saw him as Brett Maverick. He qualified for a second Purple Heart because the injury happened during combat circumstances, but a mix-up kept him from receiving it for decades. He finally received that second medal in 1983, more than 30 years after Korea. His comment at the ceremony was pure Garner. Better to receive it then than posthumously. The garlic warning. One of the most striking stories from his service involves his sense of smell. While on guard duty, he caught the scent of garlic in the air. Garner disliked garlic intensely and was unusually sensitive to it, which made the smell stand out to him in the darkness. That may sound small until you remember where he was. Enemy troops in the area often had garlic in their diet, and Garner connected the smell with possible danger. Then he heard voices. An enemy patrol was close. Garner passed word down the line, giving his fellow soldiers time to prepare. According to his own account, they were ready when the patrol arrived and stopped them before things got worse. It's one of those stories that feels almost too strange to be true, but it fits Garner perfectly. A man who hated garlic may have survived because of it. He was honorably discharged in 1952. Along with his Purple Hearts, he received other service decorations connected to Korea. Later, when Hollywood called, that military experience did not vanish. It lived under the surface of the man audiences thought they knew, the charming actor who had already faced danger long before fame found him. Now it's time to hear from you. Did you already know James Garner was wounded in Korea, or did you mostly know him from Maverick, The Rockford Files, and his movie career? Let us know in the comments section below.
I saw Maverick in reruns, but Rockford Files, I still think one of the great detective television shows of all time. I really do. I think it's great. Any chance you'd come back and bring that character back and do a return to the Rockford Files? Yeah.
Who wants an old, crippled 76-year-old actor doing that? No, I don't think so.
They could have